There's one thing that all artists talk about. There is one thing that all artists muse over and whisper about. What is this strange book? This book that every artist talks about, on the lips of every student, on the lips of every master. What is the sketchbook? What is this tiny book? And why is it so important? Let's have a look inside and see really what is it all about. Welcome back. So I've had so many questions about this magical, mystical book called the sketchbook, the notebook. And from what I can see across the internet, it seems to be this like portable gallery. It seems to be something where people have got so over the top that they are doing full paintings and full workings out and full big amazing book full of amazing drawings and final artwork. And that's not what I see a sketchbook. For me, a sketchbook, for me a book that I scribble my ideas in, is a book where I work things out. Now, in any book, I have a process where if I have to do an illustration for someone and somebody wants a certain special style of something. For example, at the moment I'm working on an opening page, okay? Now, obviously this is the first page in the book, and the idea of it is a very simple one, that the page has a middle part, and this is where the main title of the book is. So let's just put the main title there. That's the way I work. I don't write the title, I don't work it out. It's a couple of words, okay? The title of the book is Sketchbook, okay? So now I have this old kind of idea that I want some kind of circular part in the middle, and around it is the decoration. Now, the way I work in a sketchbook is that I am starting to work out elements. So we have 4 quarters there. Top, there you go. I'll mark them as a little bit more clear. That's how I'm dividing my book. I want to have a circle in the middle. Now, this is a working out. This is a sketch. This is a book where I put all those elements into. It's like making your favorite food, and you're adding salt, and you're adding a little bit of soy sauce, and you're adding a little bit of spice, and you're adding, it's slow building up of something. So my idea kind of comes from this kind of feeling that there is a glow. So I'm going to just give myself a little bit of a yellow feeling there, because I want this to have a kind of a glow in the middle of the book and then around it. So I will do that as a working idea. Now, if you can see, I have this quarter, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the 4th quarter, for example, I have a shape that is something like that. Now, I want this to be decorated in a way of a little bit of an elaborate idea of cats, okay, in this subject. So I'm going to try to work things into this. So for me, I would be first starting off with maybe this part here, where I'm trying to think of some kind of big, fat, sleepy cat. Okay? So I'm going to sketch that out. I'm going to scribble it. And that's what it is. It's scribbling. Scribbling to work out problems. And the cat is going to be there. And I want the cat's hands to come down. So something like that. That's the idea. But I want... And then I start to think, well, maybe there could be somebody standing on his head. Maybe it's a bird. Okay. Okay, so what am I doing in this part? Okay. So I start to work out. Maybe there's other cats behind him. Maybe there's a big cat here that's kind of climbing up something. So that's our... Then we can have maybe there's a cat coming up here. Maybe he's reaching down to grab the bird. That kind of looks nice. But this is starting to look very, very empty. So what can I have here? Maybe I could have something going on here. Maybe there's some kind of fight between two cats. Now this is starting to be, as I'm starting to work this out, and I'm starting to think, well, there's another cat there. Maybe that could be. And I start to think, well, okay, this is getting too much. So I will start to think, I like this idea. Okay, so let's give an idea to this bird who's standing on top of now maybe this bird in a rather big plumage, maybe he's a rather large smiling bird, and I'm working up on this as a concept idea. I'm working on shapes, and only that, because I know that there's my border for my quarter. And I'm starting to feel like, well, this is really nice. I could have a cat that's asleep. And I'm working on this idea. Okay, I like that. I like the idea that there's a cat asleep in the corner. Maybe he's had too much to drink, or he's just fallen asleep, too tired from the hunt. And that's my beginning of my idea. Now this is all worked out not right. This kind of fight idea is not. So I'm building up my illustration feeling. Now again, I can get into a point where I can start to add something to it. I can add some kind of light and shadow to it. Maybe that's what it needs. Maybe I need a nice kind of dark feeling on the back of this. And what it will do is it will give me a feeling of a working out. And that's how I use my sketchbooks. I use them very much as a working out type of like that. And it's kind of getting quite dark. So I'm just going to put some water in there to kind of loosen it down. And that's starting to give me a feeling of, I like this. Okay, so I like this idea that the cat is asleep. I love this idea of this. Now what is happening here? And what you're doing is you're starting to work out problems for your illustration. And for me, that's one of the best ways of working in a sketchbook form. So I'm going to start thinking, well, maybe I need to have something else here. What could I have here? And that starts to build up. Maybe there's too much going on there. Maybe what I need to do is I need to have a little bit of a... Maybe I just need to have some mountains. And showing this feeling of distance. So as you're starting to work on this, well, maybe you could have a very soft lighting there. And you're starting to build up an idea. And this idea is becoming a concept. It's becoming a plan for the later illustration. Now, there's a few things in there that you did like. Okay, so you like the idea of this cat. We're going to have him as a big mouth cat with lots of teeth. Again, we're not going into details. We're just going into this kind of visual idea. And this is where I feel a sketchbook comes to work. It can also be a sketchbook. It can be a thing of working out how to draw feet, how to draw a paw, how to draw, and you can learn. But also, I use my sketchbook in a way to plan out illustrations. And I'm going to have a big sunshine there. And I'm going to have big rays. That's nice. I like the idea of these rays. See, I'm thinking as I'm talking. I'm thinking this cat is jumping down. Okay, so that's nice. But this is nice. I like this thought of the rays. Okay, well, let's blast it with color. What about if we were to have the cat, the bird, and some kind of sun from behind? So let's take a brush again. Let's get back into what we were doing there with a brush. Let's get a bit of color. And again, this is not a finished piece. This is working out steps for a quarter of my page. And I love the idea of these big rays. I like that idea. Okay, so we have this sunshine here. Let's just go up and finish that off. And the sun is coming up like that. Lovely. So what this is starting to do, this is starting to get me into a thought process. And sketchbooks for me work in this way of, you're sitting in front of the TV, you've got this illustration to do tomorrow, it's quite a complex one. Somebody wants a 4/4 part of an introduction to a book, and you're working out some kind of concept. And this is the first quarter. Okay, well, I love that. So maybe we're not going to go too red. Maybe we can have a nice orange sun, maybe. So let's get in and do an orange. Right. Okay. So the concept is starting to rise here. That it's starting to make me think that maybe there's a nice glow. We could put a nice little glow onto the edge of the cat. And that little glow is just kind of saying how he's sitting in this beaming sun. So as you're doing this, it's becoming a work in progress. Okay, so let's try and put some green in there. Would that help define the character if I was to put in some green? Just to break down this whole concept. There you go. So from that, we're stepping into a first step, a working idea. And that will be a very, very, very important play. If it doesn't work, I'll draw another. If it doesn't work, I'll draw another. But something about this big red glowing sky, like these beams of red, are really quite a powerful idea. So I like that. So what do I do now? I take that concept. The background is probably going to be a kind of a more of a painting more than anything else. I'm not sure about him yet. I'm not sure about this cat up the top here. This part here I'm not sure about. I'm not sure, should there be something jumping down, or is this pretty enough on its own? So, what kind of a bird? Let's think about the character of this bird. I like the idea of this kind of bell-shaped body, but what could we change it to? So you might sketch out some ideas. Maybe it's a more of a fat bird. Maybe he's got wings. And this is, again, we're doing, let me use a biro so it'll be a little bit clearer for you to see. Maybe I'm thinking about a bird that's got big wings up, and maybe he's got like some kind of ruffle around his neck. I like that. Then we've got a very long neck, and then this bird's head. Very big eyes. Let's give him a double eye. And we've got this very long, wide beak. Now what it's doing is I'm working out the shapes here. I'm not going straight into some final painting. I'm working it out. What was I talking about? Some ruffles on the head. Okay, so we've got something like that. He's starting to look okay, but he's starting to look, now he's changing the shape of this. I'm not sure if he would work out. So let's just paint him up a little bit. Let's just see if we were to put in some light and shadow on him a little bit. We could start to see where this bird is working. Is it working? Does it have the same type of feeling to him? You know? What happens if we were to have some blue on this bird? Would the blue contrast with the red? Well, let's have a look. Blue? I'm not sure about blue. Okay. And all the way that you're playing, all the way that you're exploring this concept and this idea that you've got here, you're practicing. You're practicing your ability to paint. You're practicing your ability to work out concepts and ideas and composition. You're working about where this should be and what that should be. And this is a really, really, really powerful way to use your sketchbook. Yes, go ahead and do final artwork if you want. But at the same time, try to work this out. Try to work. Okay, so I like this idea, but you know, maybe if we had kept the kind of bell shape, because I quite like that bell shape. This kind of body shape. I like that concept. But what about if it was a vulture? That would give me more space at the top for the cat jumping down. That's a nice idea. So, with a vulture, you usually have this head up, shoulders, neck down. So we could have this kind of vulture with these evil eyes. Let's just give him some nice evil eyes here. And we got his large beak like a vulture has. Now that's quite nice. So we're sketching out this concept of this bird, this kind of vulture type thing. Maybe the way that head shape is there. I just had this idea. Maybe he's got like a crash helmet on. So let's do that. Let's just add a nice big crash helmet, like he's a kind of a dangerous. He's quite dangerous. This kind of character that we're building up here. Now, what it's doing is it's kind of making me work, because I've got my basic plan. And I'm working on here, and I can see, well, if I took that and dropped that in, would that help? It'll definitely give me more space up there. Now the head is not here, the head is down here. So let's just work in a nice vulture shape. And as you see, we're sketching, we're scribbling, as a sketchbook should be. We're planning out. We have a nice dark face to this vulture. And a nice dark beak, then with the helmet there will shine forward. So there I've got that now. Vulture usually has, so if I'm making the legs shorter than the bird would then be down here. So they're starting to work on some ideas here. This kind of cat, is he asleep? He's obviously maybe he's been out drinking, he's drunk too much, he's sitting there, and the vulture sees him. The vulture sits on him like, oh, I've got myself some dinner. But he's just drank too much. So, we're working on a concept here. We're working on little story ideas, you know? Give them some sketching in some ideas here. And we're going to give him some big feet sitting on top. We'll give him much bigger feet than what he's had before. Now that's kind of nice. I like that kind of vulture idea. So again, we're going to kind of just drop in a little bit of ink. See how it's working in this concept. And all the time that we're thinking, all the time that we're working out these problems, these decisions, our final decision, our final drawing is going to be much stronger. Okay? That's starting to lose our cat a little bit there. I'm just going to darken him in. Okay, so we're going to go in and we're going to put a little bit of a dark feeling over this vulture. We're going to get him nice and dark colours. So let's get some water in there. Now this is a water-based pen, so it might bleed up anyway. But it's giving us this nice dark greys that might look really cool. Like he's a real kind of mean creature. All the darks, all the blacks and greys. Blacks and greys. Right. Blacks. Greys. So what we're doing is while we're working this, we're thinking these processes out. And as we're thinking, we're writing down our little notes. Blacks and greys, that's a lovely idea. Dropping that on. Maybe it's a vulture. He's blacks and greys. Maybe he's got like a yellow helmet or something just to make it slightly different. So we're bringing about our concept. We're thinking about, well, what does the face of a vulture look like? What kind of character could we get? Could we have some nice big eyes? Like that. Maybe we can give him a big thick eyebrow. And we're working these things out. We're working out this element. This is the element that we're going to try and work. And if we have nice blacks there for the eyebrow, and we've got a nice grey underneath, we would have really quite a nice, again with the mouth, we could have a nice long type of mouth that's leading up to the beak. And that grey is starting to look really nice. I'm liking that concept. Especially I love this helmet. I love this idea that there's a vulture there with a helmet on. And we're starting to work all these concepts up. And at this point, we are sketching. We are thinking. We are using our brain and our thought process here to kind of work out something that would be, maybe we've got some of those, you know, like those old kind of hot rod cars. Maybe we've got some of those type of flames on his helmet, you know. Wouldn't that be cool? You know? And what we're doing is we're building this character. And we're building these concepts in a real fun way. And because we're sitting in a very kind of loose practice here, we're working things out and we're having fun. We're doing all the fun parts here. So that we've worked out all the elements. Oh yeah, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, it would be great if this happened, and that's our helmet. And there's our grey. So we're going to have a little face underneath, and we're going to finish that off with our grey, and that's our beak coming up there. So we're starting to think some of these little concepts as we're going, and we're starting to build a whole picture in our sketchbook. There's nothing difficult here. There's nothing serious here. We are just putting in the idea that maybe, oh, it's a little bit dirty, that, but you'll see what I mean. It's still yellow, but, and that's our flames that we're using color here in a very fun way. We're just using it as very light, a very light kind of play. And when you're playing with your art, things can get really good fun. I love that idea of the vulture now. I love the idea of this vulture sitting on the cat with a crash helmet, with flames on the helmet. And we're starting to build up things. So, wouldn't it be cool if he had yellow feet as well, just to match up with his helmet? You know, as we're going to have a nice glow there with the red. A nice glow on the beak. A nice glow on the chest. Doesn't that look nice? Now, of course, at this point, we're just having fun. We're just thinking about this concept. We're thinking about, should we have some kind of, what kind of cat should we have? Should the cat have a uniform on? Should the cat not have a uniform on? Should he be dressed in rags? Should he be dressed as a rich person? And we're building up concepts. We're building up thought processes. Okay, so what does the feet look like? Drag them off. Let's think about the foot. Now, something like a vulture would have a very big, heavy foot set. So we're going to be doing very, very large kind of thick, wrinkly type feet. And I want these feet to have these big claws on them. And if we bring in our water's just like dirty water. It's just the best thing. And I have a cup there, and it's just like, when I'm using ink, I wash the pen. And it's just building up a little bit of grey in the water. And that's just fun. It's a fun way to add shadows and add shading to something. So that's the type of foot that I want. I want him to have these big, wrinkly, gnarly feet. Like this. And I want him to have big, sharp claws. And again, we're just playing with our brush. Nothing important. It's just adding a little bit of water to that water-based ink. That's all it is. Put a little bit of shadow underneath. And we're starting to build up lessons as we're doing it. We're having fun here. We're kind of working out what else about this vulture. And we're thinking about, that's his feet. That's his helmet. And this is where I feel a sketchbook comes to life. And if you're just sitting there and you're kind of thinking about things, you could just finish off this bird. Just for the simple idea that he was quite a fun bird. So, although this bird now has nothing to do with our plan, you could still finish him off just with a little bit of fun, to fill out your sketchbook, to learn as you're having fun. And the best way, always, is learning, having fun. Learning, having fun. And you will always learn more. What happens if we draw a really skinny foot? Maybe this bird has got boots on. Oh, okay. So, what does a boot look like? And you start to think, you start to break things down. Maybe the boots are like big Dr. Martin boots. How does Dr. Martin boots look? Well, they've got a long kind of ankle part to them. They've got these, and then they've got a large heel, and then it'll come out. We'll have some wrinkles across the front. We'll have a big boot. Great. Or maybe I don't like those. Maybe I want some kind of more like sports shoes. You know? That's the highlight on the shoe. And that's the big... And you're drawing the heel. Okay, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want kind of sports shoes. Draw out some sports shoes. And what you're doing here is you're slowly building up importance for your sketchbook. So, as I'm thinking all these things through, I think, okay, let's draw those boots on. Let's put his big Dr. Martin boots on. We'll do all his laces coming down there, and a big highlight on there. And it's kind of fun. So, for me, a sketchbook now is starting to show that it's my brain. It's the second part of my brain. Because I'm working these things out and I'm making notes of it. I'm making notes. You know, maybe this bird is in the distance. Maybe this bird is over here. He's kind of dancing around in the distance. Okay. Dancing in distance. Okay, let's make a note of that. Dancing in distance. Now, for me, this becomes a catalogue. As I'm drawing and as I'm building up the concepts of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts of my page, what I'm slowly doing is I'm building up all this knowledge. I'm building up all these ideas. And these ideas are just free-flowing and not really important, not stressful. So what happens is that you build up a whole thing of ideas. Then I turn the page and I go, right, I'm going to do page number 1. What do I want at the top? The same shape, and you start to work it. And as you're doing that, you start to work out, oh, I'd love a nice edging on this. A nice edging. Okay, well, maybe we could have a thick edge, but maybe we could have like a big kind of scroll or something like that. And then we run that nice and thick down the edge, so we've got a nice thick edge. And as it comes to the edge, we have a nice ending. So again, these little thoughts are being added to a sketch that's very important. It's important in the fact that it's putting our elements together. It's putting all our knowledge, and we're practicing about what does the boot look like? What does the feet look like? What does the helmet look like? What does the bird look like? Is it a vulture bird? Is it a dancing bird? We could change that, put the dancing bird there. Okay, so we can't have his leg going that way, but maybe if I turn that around, we could have a bird there who's dancing on top of his head. Do you see how we're working this concept? So maybe we don't like the red. The red is too strong. When you start to see it with 4 elements, you've got yellows and pinks and light greens, and the red is too strong. Then you can go back into your sketch and you could sketch something up with some yellow suns. And what this does for me in my sketchbooks is that I'm kind of just sitting there thinking about, well, this kind of light, and well, what about if I was to, kind of give it a mood? Maybe I was a little bit darker. Maybe I don't want, maybe this idea of him standing in the sun is too much. Maybe I want it to be a dark night. Maybe I want it to be very kind of moody, and maybe that's what's behind him. Maybe the sky is like a big stormy sky. And you're starting to think. Now, what comes down to all this thought and all these importance on your sketchbook is that once that final illustration is done, once this illustration is done, it's going to look incredible. And it's going to look so much more developed, so much more worked out, and the final result will be incredibly, incredibly beautiful. So, this is just a quick idea on how I use my sketchbook, how I use it in my illustrations, and how I use it to work out problems, how I work it to a point where, even if I did want this cat, okay, well, what kind of a face has he got? Okay, he's got a nice big fat face. Okay, nice big round, and I want him to have a big mouth like that. Okay, maybe we could have him like a real kind of shabby cat, like a real kind of scruffy beast, and he's got long teeth, and he's got a little nose like that, and he's got these big black eyebrows, big bushy eyebrows, and all the time that we're doing this, I'm not worried about one eye is bigger than the other. I'm thinking about the concept. I'm thinking about the idea, the plan. And maybe we could give him a little hat, like a little bowler hat type of thing. Now, what this is starting to do is it's starting to build out all these images. And maybe we've got him maybe he's got a big bracelet, like a big thick bracelet on. Like he's some kind of tough guy, And that's our cat idea. And that could be the cat that's up there. And as you're doing this, you think, well, I need to work that character out more. Turn the page, go on, start working into your character. Start working into what type of character did you want? Did you want him to have an eye patch? Did you want him to have a pirate's hat? Did you want him to have a big chain necklace? What did you want? And this way, your final image will work out to be a very well thought out, beautiful image. So, that's just a little quick video for me to tell you about how I work in my daily way of working. I will be sitting in front of the TV, or I'll be sitting having breakfast, or I'll be sitting in the bath, or what. Yes, I do sketch in the bath. Yes, I do. You see, so many of my sketchbooks have all got water damage all over them, for the simple concept that I sometimes sketch in the bath. Well, there you go. Trade secrets. Sketch in the bath. And so this is a really, really powerful way to use your sketchbook. This is not a book that I'm going to be showing anybody. This is not a book that I'm going to be saying, oh, this is my sketchbook today, and I'm turning the page. Oh, how glamorous it is. It took me 17 years to paint this one. I'm not bothered. That's really lovely if you're into it, but for me, I love this way of working. I love about working out concepts, working out problems. And once you've done all this thinking and having fun, and what about the colours of this? Maybe the bird is pink, maybe the bird's purple, maybe he's got spots. You're thinking about all these fun little things. And then you get to do it on a big piece of paper. all the pressure is gone. All the hard work is gone. And all you need to do is to draw it up. And that is where the real fun begins. So, thank you very much for watching today. Thank you very much for sharing my insight into working with a sketchbook. And please come back soon. Come back and watch some more videos. If there's anything about this that you would like to know more about, if you'd like to see more pages and how to work out things in a sketchbook, how to break things down into elements, send me a question, send me a comment. And if you did like this video, and if you did enjoy some of the chat, subscribe. Please come and join the fun. Okay? It's a great day. Every day we put up videos and we talk about drawing. We talk about the concept of making books and making illustrations. And it's all done from a true-hearted point of view. This is all from my heart. It's all just being honest. And I hope you appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. And come back soon. Thank you very much. Keep sketching, okay? Keep sketching in that sketchbook. Keep just having fun. And I'll see you again very, 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 very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.